What's going on, you guys? Slim here with a new video today, and today, you guys, I'm here to talk about what I personally think are going to be the top 5 decks of the new format. We got our ban list. YCS Philly just took place. Shout out to my boy Fetty for winning. I'm so happy for you, bro. Congratulations, you really deserved it. The top 4 was all Kashtira. I know that's not that interesting, but my boy Fetty pulled it out, and I'm super happy for him. He's been topping so consistently. He's been on the channel, me and Johnny's channel, multiple times. He's been doing his thing. He's come second before, and now he finally clinched the W, and I'm super happy for him. So again, shout out to you, Fetty. So glad you won. You're really deserving. Just awesome to see you as our newest YCS champion. With that being said, top 5 decks of the format. I'm going to keep it short and simple. Hopefully you guys enjoy. Be sure to subscribe. Hopefully there'll be more content. If you guys want to actually see the top 5 rogue decks, in my personal opinion, I'll also mention them in another video, but let's hop into it and not waste any more time. All my social links and everything are down below if you want to support the channel. Now, coming in at number 5. I really wanted to put this as number 5, so my mistake. We'll start with an honorable mention, and that is Sword Soul. Sword Soul was originally my number 5, and I really had to go back and forth. I looked at the results from YCS Philly, but Sword Soul is definitely an honorable mention, definitely in the top 10. If I did a top 10 list, it definitely would have been on there. The fact they got Denglong, shout out to my boy Tyler, you already know. That card, I think, changes Sword Soul. I think it literally just gives them a whole new engine, a whole new, like, oomph back to the deck. The deck is very consistent. The deck does the same thing pretty much every game, and that's what you want in a Yu-Gi-Oh deck. You want it to be able to go first. You want it to be able to go second. You want it to be able to play just to all its strengths, and it really does do that. Barone, Chi Shao, like, literally all the Tenyis, all the Blackout, like, all the good trap cards, all the hand traps they can play. The deck really does play to its strengths, and it really is one of the best contender decks that you can play if you're looking for something consistent that gets the job done on a regular basis. And that's why I honestly feel like that is a great deck, but it's an honorable mention, definitely in the top 10. The only reason it got nudged out is because for number 5 I have Labyrinth, and the reason I have Labyrinth is because of its performance at Philly. Now, I know this was all before the ban list. The ban list actually dropped, from what I heard, round 2 of YCS Philly. That's absolutely crazy. I wouldn't even know how to react if that happened, but regardless, that deck is just crazy. It's a trap deck. Trap decks do well. Lightning Storm went to 2. Now you may think, what does that matter? The fact that Storm is at 2, you still have Duster, so you still have really good removal. You still have Evenly, but the deck has accounted for that. The deck has prepared for that, and a lot of decks are not even main decking Evenly as much anymore. And with Lightning Storm at 2, you have less cards that can go after all the trap cards that Labyrinth plays. Plus, they can chain traps on top of everything. I think the deck is very solid. It took a good amount of the top 64. It did well. I think it made it even into top 8. I want to say it was top 8, or maybe it was even top 4 was all cash, but I know top 8, it definitely made it into top 8. So I think the deck is really strong. Ryan Yu has really piloted it really well. Hunter Lloyd has piloted it really well. I think he played like a branded kind of Labyrinth deck, so pretty crazy. I think the deck is very solid. Trap cards are really strong, and just it's very good at what it does. And I think that if you do not account for a trap deck in any format, you're going to get punished. It can get hit by certain hand traps, but honestly, it's not as destroyed as some of the other decks. Now, honestly, a lot of the decks we thought got hit are still going to be on this list because I think they are still really good, so we will get into them as we continue on. But I think Labyrinth is a really solid deck that should not be ignored. And I think, again, if you're sleeping on the deck, it's going to catch you by storm. I remember playing against it the first time, and you would think a set 5 deck, you know how to play against it, but their traps turn into monsters, their traps turn into a lot of advantage, and you fall behind very quickly. So just one thing I want to mention, I definitely have Labyrinth at number 5. Honestly, it might even go higher as the format continues. This, again, is just my personal thoughts, just seeing on how the format will continue to play out. Coming in at number 4, don't be shocked, I have Super Heavy Samurai. Now you guys are thinking they just lost their Link Monster. If you guys have seen my boy Tombox's video, he already showed the perfect replacements. If you look on YouTube, you already know there are replacements. Lithium's coming out with his video if he hasn't done it already. The deck is far from dead. The deck still has plenty of plays. Granted, it may not be the same, but it's definitely something to pay attention to. I think that the deck is very strong, and I think that it's something that you should not sleep on. Yes, it's a full monster deck. Yes, it can lose to some weird things. Yes, there's a lot of hand traps in the format, but I think the deck is really strong. And in that sense, like, I also do want to mention Pearly. Now, Pearly was not actually on my top 5, and that could have been a mistake. The reason I kept it off is because they did take a pretty severe hit. Now, you may think it's not a huge hit, but being able to get to your main end board consistently is a huge problem. But I think that we can even put the deck in there as an honorable mention and just kind of mention it as we go along. But Super Heavy Samurai, I think, is still here to stay, and I think it's definitely a deck that should be included in the top 5. Players are already figuring out new combos with it. They're figuring out new lines with it, and I think that that's all the deck needs to stay relevant. So definitely don't sleep on the deck. I think it'll be a deck that we'll see going forward in the format. With or without the Link Monster, it'll find a way to still do things. So don't sleep on it. Anything you were siding against it, don't not side it. If you were playing Droll, still play Droll. I think the deck really can still be played. The best pilots are going to find ways to make it work, so don't sleep on the deck. It's a deck that we'll definitely see going into the new format. Now into the top 3. Like I mentioned, I didn't have Pearly on this list. Like I said, that might be a mistake. First and foremost, I don't know that much about Pearly, so I'm going to be honest. I haven't really focused on it too much. I know it ends on a towers-like monster. I know that it relies on a lot of spell cards, and unfortunately, its performance has just been kind of near or there. I know packs had a lot of success with it. I know that it, unfortunately, I'm positive I want to say it topped this YCS in Philly, but again, this was with full power cash, so it's hard to say how good the deck will be going forward. Since they did lose 2 of their main cards, or just one of their main cards, but 2 copies of it from the ban list, I think that we do need to take into account that can be a problem. I think the fact that the deck is going to be hurt by that, I think that it's important to remember that the deck can still do things. It's just going to, it's going to get to its end board a little less consistently. I was looking again. It was purely Delicious Memory they lost, so definitely something that does hurt the deck. But I still want to mention it as a deck that is important. So it's kind of in the top 5, kind of not in the top 5. I really don't know where to put it. You guys can let me know in the comment section below if I'm missing out by not including it. But at number 3, I have Sprite. Starter to 2, who cares? A little bit of consistency hit. Deck's still really strong. Deck can still be comboed with Runic, can still do a lot of things. Found 1 to 2, that makes no difference. They were only playing 2. I think Sprite's really strong. I'm waiting to see what Joshua Schmidt does with it. I think the deck's very solid. I think in the hands of the right pilot, it will do a lot of things, so definitely don't sleep on Sprite. I think it's going to be very strong. I think it's going to be a deck that, still has its consistency. It doesn't have Elf, but it doesn't need it. They can still put up some pretty crazy negate boards. They can do some pretty crazy stuff by combining it with Melfi, by combining it with Furhire, by combining it with Runic. It's one of the best decks, one of the best engines to splash in with another engine to make a really consistent deck and a really powerful deck at that, so do not sleep on Sprite this format. Definitely in the top 3 in my personal opinion, and I'll be anxious to see again what Josh does and what a lot of good Sprite players do, because I think the deck is very strong and do not sleep on it at all. Very, very solid deck, and I had to put it in there. Now coming into 2 and 1, this is just early predictions, kind of like a prediction list, but early predictions. Number 2, I still have Kashtira. And now you guys are thinking, why? They have 1 Arise Heart. They have what is it? 1 Unicorn? I think a Unicorn went to 1. Was that it? Yeah, I think it was 1 Unicorn. They can still play. There's still combos. They still have ways to search their guys out, special their guys. 1 Arise Heart is all you need. However, it does hurt if you do lose it. It does hurt if you do anything and get it ripped from your extra deck. However, I think that the card is very, I think that the card is still extremely strong. A Macrocosmos, you can protect it. It does mean that a lot of the cards you use against the deck are going to be stronger, but I think that the deck can still bounce back. I know players are already finding ways to make it work. With 2 Arise Heart, 1 Unicorn, they're still going to make it work. I think that the deck is still very solid in the hands of the right pilot. It's going to do wonders. I can't not put it on this list. Does it deserve to be number 2? Maybe not. Maybe this list is kind of all over the place, but I definitely wanted to include it in the top 5 in my personal opinion, because I know players are not going to put it down that easily. So number 2, I have Kashtira. It could be somewhere on this list. Maybe number 2 isn't right, but it's definitely going to be there in the top 5. And last but not least, I have to give it up to Branded. They lost Expulsion. That's it. The deck still plays very solid. Their new Fusion Monster basically can do the same thing. I think the deck's very strong. I think the deck can still do exactly what it does. Yeah, Ash hurts Branded Fusion, but they've been playing against Branded Fusion for ages and still finding success. I think the deck is going to find ways to navigate through that and still continue to be a hell of a deck in this format. And yeah, I got Branded at number 1. Personally, I think that enough players pick up the deck, they understand the deck. I think they're going to find lines to do it. Shout out to my boy Daniel for playing the Nadir package in it. I think that that's really going to do wonders for the deck going forward, and it could be a new way to play the deck in a way that you can continue to make the deck work in the format. But that's all I got, you guys. Don't want to waste any more of your time. Top 5 decks of the format, top 5 meta decks. If you guys want to see top 5 rogue decks or top 5 wildcard decks, let me know. I'll be making more videos for you guys in the future, but hopefully you guys enjoyed. Be sure to subscribe if you're new here. I'll see you guys for more videos. Thank you for watching.